My name is James Bonham. I have been in the dental technology world essentially for 20 years now. I've worked for a couple of big manufacturers the first half of my career, and then I would say over the last decade, it's been, started my entrepreneurial journey. Um, Owned a few different businesses. My first business was a 3D imaging center where we took 3D x-rays and did implant planning, and facial analysis for doctors. Back when cone beams were not very affordable, so we started off with buying an iCat when an iCat was $300,000 or whatever, and then kind of formed an imaging center of doctors with customers, surgeons and stuff around us. So that's kind of where we started. Love that. Sold that imaging center a few years later, and then I acquired a dental lab. So at that point in time, you know, the labs were very analog, very not very digital at all. So
Yeah.
that was step number one, was to take this new lab that I had purchased and flip it to a digital lab,
Mhm.
and incorporate 3D printers, and try to encourage our customers to have scanners and submit cases through intraoral scanning versus taking impressions. Had a really great time with that. Within a year, we were acquired by a large lab, orthodontic lab in the space, and so which was really great for me because it just gave us much bigger everything. We've just had the ability to grow really really fast, and over the next 4 years, I was a partner, but running the sales and marketing side of that lab, and we doubled that lab over the next 4 years, and had a great time. And then that's kind of when I made the decision, left the lab,
Mhm.
sold my equity in the lab, and wanted to do something different. And that was back in late 2016, early 2017.
Yeah.
And that's when we started Voxel Dental. The whole idea behind Voxel Dental was we wanted to help doctors bring those laboratory workflows in-house.
Yeah.
At that time, we saw that 3D printing was going to the desktop. It was getting smaller. It was getting more affordable, better workflows, easier to use. And that's kind of really the background. That's how Voxel was started, and just with the idea of helping doctors bring these the appliance fabrication and dental workflows in-house.
Excellent. Perfect. I think big sort of background there in digital technology, which is obviously probably the reason for going into 3D printing. Since obviously being at Voxel now and creating this as a brand and a company, how do you feel that you compare and adapt to different companies that do similar things to yourself?
Yeah, there's really not a lot of companies that do exactly what we do. Um, Maybe one or two others that I would really consider similar,
Mhm.
and I think they do a good job as well. Um, but it's not just selling equipment. I mean, we sell all digital equipment. That's how we earn a living,
Yeah.
right? But we try to do things a lot different.
Mhm.
Um, that's kind of selling the equipment is what we do. That's the benefit. That's how we earn a living. But what we truly do is consult with clients, consult with doctors and their staff, and help them figure out what is that best path from analog to digital. There's so many pieces to the puzzle, and how do all these puzzle pieces fit? Does this software or this
Mhm.
piece of technology communicate with this one?
Yeah.
And it's really about just pulling all the puzzle pieces together. And we focus on selling multiple brands of each technology that we do sell, because we always want to have a very objective approach with our clients,
Mhm.
and have the ability to give them a good, better, best option from what we lay out. But it starts with really just asking a bunch of questions with our doctors and
Yeah.
clients, and help try to understand where they are now, where they want to be, and what's that schedule to get them to that point.
Excellent. I know I mentioned to you previously that I've heard great things about Voxel throughout my time already in the industry. It's a distributor that a lot of, especially 3D manufacturers, want to work with. So how have you found since starting Voxel, it's adapted and changed as the market's gone on, and how have you grown as a company?
Yeah, that's a great question and could be a long-winded answer because it's eh, owning a company like this, especially focused in the technology segment. Um, Everything I think that we're going to be this year, it, every year it kind of blows my mind because we end up doing, you know, that plus five other things.
Yeah.
We started Voxel, like I said, in, late November of 2016, and the whole idea was we're going to be, one of the very first, if not the first, 3D printer distributors that focus on chair side. We're not focused on labs. We have the lab experience, but we're focused on chair side.
Yeah.
And then it quickly turned into, well, I had a background in 3D imaging with CBCT and running an imaging center. So quickly, cone beam and digital X-ray came into play. Um, and so really those were the two products that we started with. We were selling cone beams and we were selling 3D printers. And then it just evolved and, oh, well, we need an intraoral scanner. And so let's evaluate all the scanners out there and pick a great partner or two. I mean, when you look at what we have today, if you asked me 5 years ago, did I think that Voxel would be a company that's focused on, robotics and automation, which is kind of the newest thing we've gotten involved into, I would have said absolutely not. That's not where I think we're going. But I think what I've learned is pay attention to the market, listen to your doctors, and understand what they're looking for, what workflows they're trying to accomplish, and then by doing that and listening, we we then go seek the technologies that we can first learn and test and beat up and know everything that we can about that technology, and then be able to bring that education and that piece of equipment, that technology, to the dental practice. But so did I, I thought we were just starting a company to sell 3D printers, and now that's probably maybe only 15% of our business. And we sell a lot of 3D printers, but it's not it's not the main part of our business. It's just evolved in one piece of the puzzle
Yeah.
to this entire digital workflow.
Excellent. And that you were about to ask, what is the main product that you're working with then? Obviously, 3D printer only making up 15%. You mentioned
Yeah.
robotics. It's becoming a massive thing in the industry and it's only going to grow further. But what is the main focus, would you say?
I don't think there's a main focus as far as product category. I think the main focus is what does the doctor need?
Yeah.
The main focus is digital workflow. We started off as a 3D printer company, but over 6, 7 years, we've evolved into a full digital workflow company because I think that's the biggest need in dentistry is that, doctors are really, they want to do it, but it's not many people truly
Yeah.
have the energy to invest all the time to understand how all the pieces work together. And that's where we come into play. We say, hey, let us test it, let us beat it up and figure out what works well together. And then, we make those recommendations to our clients.
Excellent. And obviously education is a massive part of that. I know when we spoke previously, we discussed the education events that you're starting to put on. Tell me more about them and how you feel they compare to trade shows.
Yeah, it's interesting. We really only do a couple of trade shows a year, which, if you look back 15 years ago, 20 years ago when I started the industry, that's it feels like that's all we did was trade shows.
Oh,
Trade shows are great still, but it's just not where we've decided to focus. We decided to focus on education. We currently do about 40 education events a year, and those are typically, Friday, Saturday, like weekend events. A lot of hands-on educational events where whether it's, all on X full arch, hands-on training course where we've got 20, 30 doctors.
yeah.
We would rather do those type of events than go to a trade show where there's 5, 10,000 doctors. It's just Our style is to be more personal, more one-on-one. 70% of our business comes from referrals.
Mhm.
We're not a company that advertises and markets a lot, but it's because we do a lot of these educational events and develop those one-on-one relationships. And
Yeah.
it's just really kind of an old school approach. But if we do a good job with you, our expectation is that we're going to you're going to appreciate it and you're going to tell your friends. And that's kind of how we've built the company.
Yeah, word of mouth is by far the most powerful tool you can use. Referrals, like you said, it is the best way to go about doing business, as great as marketing can be. There's no better marketing than someone's opinion and voice to
Yeah.
their friend and to their network.
And I'll add to that. I mean, what you were talking about education. We've gone so much as to, doubling down that we truly believe that education is the number one way we want to
Mm,
market, right? Is through teaching. So, we do a lot of events where we're traveling all over the country, all over the world, actually. We do three different out of, events that we do
mm,
quarterly that are outside of the US. So we go to, Mexico, we go to Guatemala, we go to, a few different places. But
mhm.
what we've really done this past year is we've built a state-of-the-art education center here at Voxel. And right now we're hosting about one event every 6 weeks.
Yeah,
We want to get that probably to every third weekend, where we're hosting an event here. We've got all the toys in the education room. So every printer, every cone beam, every scanner. We've got a fully working chair with air and water and everything, so we can actually do live surgeries, and everything gets casted onto the LED wall. We've spent a lot of time and energy and money in this educational center here at
yeah.
Voxel. Um, it's nice not to have to travel as much. If we can bring more people here, is great, but it's also nice to have an event where the technologies that we're talking about are actually on site, and
Yeah.
we have the ability to do hands-on training and teaching with that technology. So that's kind of the focus, and that's we're a big believer in education, and we're putting our money where our mouth is when it comes to education.
Yeah, and that's great. And I think 6 weeks you mentioned is sort of the average time you're doing one at the moment. Are you planning on bringing that down to one a month, maybe one every 2 weeks? What are the plans for that?
I think one every 2 to every 3 weeks would be ideal.
Yeah,
Um, we've really just these first 6 months, we just kind of been working out the kinks, every one. We even have the ability to live feed. We've got five PTZ cameras throughout the space. We've got a full-time audio video guy on staff that handles everything. Yeah, but we can fit 40 doctors or 40 people comfortably in the in the education facility, but yet we can live feed to hundreds more that want to attend the educational event, but maybe can't necessarily be on site. So we're doing our best to make it as a state-of-the-art center that we can reach people all over the world.
well, yeah, I think that's the best thing about the education centre being there, is that you can get everyone, like you said, to yourself to see the products in person. There's no better way of selling, teaching, and showing people really the full capabilities of product than actually showcasing it face to face. As like I say, great as trade shows are, you don't have those products to hand. So that's where the downfall sometimes can be with them. Um,
And
one
it's
one
how we
thing,
differentiate ourselves too. We don't necessarily just want to be selling a product. We want to be teaching what that product does and how it can change a practice. It, big believer in education being the centerpiece.
yeah, definitely couldn't agree more. But one thing for me is, as you know, I work mainly in the 3D print market, helping manufacturers hiring their commercial teams, etc. Who do you feel within that space are the biggest competitors that are out there, and who do you see that's on the rise?
Yeah, the 3D printing space is we could spend all day talking about that because it's all you have to do is you can't take a nap because you're going to have more people entering the space all the time. But I mean, we've been since day one been working with Sprint Ray since we
Mhm.
literally started our companies the same year, and we were one of the first, if not the first, distributors and partners with Sprint Ray.
Yeah.
So they've done a great job with education and becoming a market leader. So they're
Mhm.
definitely one that you have to talk about.
Yeah, of course.
Desktop Health has been a very, very strong, formerly Envision Tech. They were a very strong brand and continue to do great things. We're seeing a lot of new printers to the market.
Yeah.
You've got your lower cost LCD printers that are
Mhm.
out there. We're seeing some dentists using even these low cost hobby printers that are working.
Yeah.
They may not, they're going to have a little bit more. Um, you need to be a tinker to
Yeah.
go with some of that printer,
Mhm.
with printers like that. But then there's some other great brands that are coming onto the scene too. I mean, you look at what, Graphy is doing with the direct print aligner
Yeah.
material. You look at what Lux Creo is doing from, all of their clear print
Yeah.
strategies that they have from a full line of professional printers to aligner, direct print aligner resins as well. So,
Yeah.
there's a lot of changes coming in the 3D printing space, and we're super excited to be involved with all of these companies, and doing our best that we can to give them good feedback, to help, lead towards a direction that we're all trying to get to, which is, the simplification of, scanning,
Yeah.
designing, and direct printing appliances. And I'm really happy with where things are going and where these 3D printers, 3D printing companies
Yeah.
are focused right now because we're going to continue to see some really amazing things out of 3D printers in dentistry over the next few years.
Nah, I absolutely agree. I think you've seen how it's changed over the few years that 3D printing's become sort of a major part of digital dentistry to where it is now, and where the growth is going to be. It's going to be phenomenal. If I can get my words out, and then you see the introduction of AI, that's going to
Yep.
play a massive part down the line. But how has 2023 started for you, and how does the rest of the year look like?
Um, we're very blessed. We've been in a segment that's just continuing to grow and I think, hopefully we continue to make good decisions like we have been and continue to grow. But as far as 2023, I know overall I've heard that, the industry was down a little bit last year, dentistry, and that things were down again, for the first part of 2023. But like I said, we've been very blessed. I mean, we're 30% up again this year, just like we were last year. So we're continuing to grow. We're spending a lot of our time, energy, money into
Mhm.
finding new technologies that we
Yeah.
can help bring to practices. But um, like I said, it's that because we're so focused on 3D printing and digital workflows, that
Yeah.
is a segment that is growing right now.
Mhm.
Um, and so we're very blessed to be part of that growth. And I think we're one of the major companies out there that are driving that growth too. So it's fun to be a part of that.
No, absolutely. I agree. Just from my knowledge on the market, you are definitely one of the main drivers in that. Some of the brands that you work with, like I said, Sprint Ray, Desktop Health, and many of the others are great brands within the industry that people recognise as being sort of the top end of the product chain. So I think that really shows what you guys are doing, and the type of products that you put out there to your doctors, to your um, surgeons, etc. Within Voxel, obviously there's yourself, but obviously built a big team. Talk to me about your team and what they provide to your customers.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you asked that because I tell people all the time if I'm proud about things that we've accomplished at Voxel, the thing that I'm most proud about is the team that we put together.
Yeah.
So we have just a really, really strong, dynamic team of 20-year vets that are just the best of the best in the industry. On one end, that seems to be half of our team. and the other half, seems to be, a bunch of late 20, early 30s
Yeah.
guys that have been with us, for 5, 6 years now.
Yeah.
That some of them came out of the dental lab space, but just a deep, deep knowledge base that we have on the team. So I'm very, very confident there's not a single person that you can get on the phone at Voxel that's not going to impress you, that's not going to just know what they're talking about.
Mm.
We kind of have a policy here in the office. I would say 70, 80% of the conversations that all of us have, we do on speakerphone. That I like other people hearing the conversations
Yeah.
that we're all having with doctors, because we try to use it as a learning environment. Um,
Absolutely.
and we can take a young guy that's just got a little bit of experience in dentistry, but you put him next to some of the other, what we got a team full of digital badasses. So, you put him in that environment, and we can really accelerate the growth.
Yeah.
And our team is solid proof of that. So I think we've got a lot to offer our clients, and again, that's the thing that we're most proud of, is the relationships that we form with our clients, and the knowledge that our team has.
No, I would agree. I think everyone that I spoke to in Voxel has been the same, as you say, very knowledgeable, very good at what you do, and you can see the passion that you guys have for it, and that's a big thing within this industry that some people not lack, but it's always great to see when someone has a passion. It drives you and it brings you more into actually wanting to be a part of it. And like I say, relationships, I know from first hand that I can speak to most people in the industry, and they'll tell me they have a relationship with yourself or someone else there. So I think you've done really well to build that sort of brand awareness and that image of yourself as being this great company that's got good culture, it's well knowledgeable in the years that you have done since 2016.